Hey guys, Tyler here. A couple days ago, I uploaded my editing competition. Kind of want to talk about today. I assume you guys have been eagerly waiting the results. So, before I get into that, just want to say thank you to everyone who participated in this. Even the people that did not make it to the finals. There were a shit ton of participants. And thank you to everyone who gave feedback. There was loads of feedback, which made it super exciting, actually, to watch all the feedback come in and to sift through it just to see what you guys liked and didn't like in videos. There was 1,200 comments on YouTube and 4,000 responses on the Google Doc form thing. It was crazy that the spread between all the editors was actually pretty even for the most part. Like, it seemed that every single editor had a subset of the audience that they connected to the most, which I thought was really cool. When I picked these 7 choices, I kind of wanted a wide range of editing styles, and it seems like because of that, there was a massive divide over what type of editing style was the best, rather than like the quality or how good the person edited. Because really, it seemed like every single one of these 7 submissions was really well edited. All these guys did a fantastic job, and I was hoping by making this video, I would have an easier time to decide with all your feedback and all that, but I'm pretty sure it just made it harder to decide, to be honest. So, with that being said, I also want to thank the feedback about the competition in general, about some stuff I could have changed. And to be honest, if I was to do this again, or it was to start over, I probably would have changed up a couple things. First off, I probably would have made it so there were more clips for people to choose from. That way you wouldn't be seeing the same thing over and over and over again and kind of get fatigued about it. The reason I only ended up having 2 was, first off, because I only had 2. And second off, I didn't actually expect 7 people to be in the finals. I didn't expect that many good submissions, and I was expecting like 3 or 4, so like 2 clips to choose from wouldn't have been as draining. It also would have been a good idea to probably include the source footage, just so you guys could see what the editors did have to work with. And I guess if you were curious, I actually did decide to upload the source footage now, all 36 minutes of it, and attach it in the description and the comment section of this video if you want to check it out. Now you can look at it and see what exactly they did with it. And I think I would also change it so each submission would only contain 1 clip. That way people wouldn't feel forced to condense each clip down to 2 minutes, even though people did do a good job at that. That also tripped up a lot of other people. I still think it went very well. And honestly, with all these fantastic submissions, I think it's about time we get into my analysis and the overall rankings of these guys. Alright, first up, we have the most controversial of all the edits. Edit number 1 by Lil Reaper. He scored an average of 5.02 points out of 10, which is the lowest out of all of them, but his rating distribution tells another story. He had a lot of 10s, like a very solid amount of 10 out of 10 ratings for someone of that low of a score, which was offset by the massive amount of low ratings. But it seemed that people felt very strongly about this edit in one way or another. Despite the negativity, I believe 14.6% of people did say that his edit was their favorite out of all of them. The pros of his edits were that he was very skilled at what he does. He was probably the most technically proficient editor out of everyone out there. His whole thing took about 3 hours, which is really short for the amount of edits he did put in. So it seems like he's a very fast and efficient worker. And he had a really good edit with me saying the snipers can't shoot past the fucking corn. I think he did a really good job capturing my agony that I had in that very moment there. But a lot of the other edits certainly felt forced, and this is where we kind of get into the negatives. Let me just pull up my notes real quick right here. I actually did take extensive notes, actually, on all the videos that were submitted. If you want to see your notes, please send me a DM on Twitter. I'll send them over to you. But for the most part, the notes were actually pretty positive, except for a couple parts where the intro, I think, was a little unnecessary. He just did some edits there and didn't really care too much about the overarching story. Like, it showed that I was choosing heroes, but it didn't really make sense because it didn't have the payoff of me saying I was locked into a hero or realizing I was locked into a hero. So that felt kind of weird. He cut out a lot of important parts, I think, of the video, especially rounds 29 through 39. He just cut out entirely, which I think was pretty aggressive. Something I could do sometimes, but not if there's like important parts in that video. And it seemed that he included a lot of the unimportant parts in the early rounds. While he made up with that with like zoom and cut edits and all that. A lot of people also didn't like those edits, and I don't think the content expressed in those parts was the best. Oh no, I actually thought the edits were pretty good, but I could see it getting nauseating or kind of tiresome if it was a regular thing. I think that's something that's best made for a one-time sort of thing. I mean, my most popular video on my channel is a video where I do like MLG spoof commentary, where I just shoutcast at Bloons, which is funny for one video. If I was to do something like that again as a one-time bit, I would probably call on this guy, because he seems like he could actually generate a lot of hype if I was like trying to generate extra hype for my commentary. I don't usually do that, so it doesn't really quite fit my style, but I did find the video to be extremely enjoyable, just not quite for my channel. I really do think he has a good place on a channel that's just a lot more focused around hype and less around chill content like my channel, and I would like to wish him the best of luck in the search for that kind of channel, but he will not be an editor for my current channel. I may potentially ask, see if he's willing to help if I ever choose to do some other hyper parody video like that again. However unlikely that is, you never know. 14.6% of the people said that his edit was the best, so obviously he's doing something right. Next up, we have edit number 7, which was by Dylan Buck, which scored an average of 5.91 out of 10. Next up. So, as a whole, people are actually pretty positive about this, but not extremely positive as much as they were with the previous one. But as you can see by the graph, most people did rate it above a 5. It was just kind of condensed around that area. And personally, I actually think he did a really good job. Like, my notes on this were very few, and I was being extremely critical, trying to jot down every single problem I had with any of the videos. There were very few problems. Like, the only critical note I have on this is that there's 1 second of dead air in the round 37 retry. That's it. Everything else is fine. He probably paced it better than how I would have paced it. He did an extremely good job on that. And it seems like I was not the only one to recognize how well his video flowed and fit with my style. Despite his 5.91 rating, despite him being the last video in the series of edits that all had the same footage, despite his video not having anything particularly flashy in it, he had a very large vocal support in the comment section of people saying how well he just had the video flow and how well it fit my style. And because of that, I'm going to be hiring Dylan Buck here as one of the editors for my channel. One of. There will be multiple, so hang tight. So I really actually did end up liking what I did with it. Again, it was, I think, better than how I would have paced it personally. He only spent an hour and a half on this total, which is really good for the amount of detail he spent getting every second paced right. It was because he did not do any flashy edits, which is totally fine. I wouldn't be surprised if he grows into those over time, or just like a few. It's not even like I do too many flashy edits anyways, so that sort of thing would be great. And the only other complaint people had about his thing was the watermark he had, which I will be sure that does not appear on future videos. Heads up. I think that's pretty simple. So congratulations to Dylan. Did a really good job. I believe 7.2% of people said that his edit was their favorite, which is to be expected out of a non-flashy edit. But I do feel like he can grow in flashiness at least a little bit over time. He already has the non-controversialness nailed down, so I would be expecting him to grow as an editor over the next couple years, and I'm excited to see what he has in store for this channel. Next up, we have edit number 5, submitted by the Cow Knight, who scored an average of 6.03 out of 10. And his edit was also pretty bare bones, not as flashy, kind of comparable to Dylan's. However, he did include a couple personality edits in the beginning, which were both actually very good. His edit of the hero indecision thing and how all of that was for Vayne and my agony after realizing I can't change was pretty funny and pretty well done, I have to say. Some people didn't like the speeding up of the voice, but I think it was reasonable to do because the stuff that happened was ultimately unimportant. All that mattered was that I was just wasting time trying to choose a new hero in Vayne. And then his other good edit was the kind of flash forward foreshadowing edit where he just showed me leaking lives in a montage. I think that's funny as a one-time thing. I wouldn't want that in every video, but I thought that was like a cool little bit that he did. You know, foreshadowing can be a bit of a turnoff to some people, but I don't think it particularly ruined the video. Then after those edits, I would have to say that the video kind of dropped off in quality a little bit. He didn't really edit too much after that, for starters. He had a SpongeBob edit in there, which I think fell flat, and he included the part where I blew my nose for some reason. I'm not the biggest fan of including that sort of stuff in my videos. I don't really think it's a funny gag or anything in particular. Anytime I will like burp or sneeze or blow my nose, I don't think is that interesting of an edit. Him and a few others did include edits of these. I'm not the biggest fan, although some people did enjoy it. It's just not personally for me. I don't think that actually would have been a problem in the long run, because that could have been just resolved super easily, but I thought I'd mention that. The pacing of the video felt a little bit off. He included a lot of early parts that weren't as interesting and missed out on some of the later parts that should have been included, like the totem, just for example, and the rounds around that I think were relatively worth including, I would say, for sure. Still, he did a really good job at making jokes out of the beginning. I think he was pretty funny, and a lot of people in the comments did appreciate his humor without being too over the top. It was a safe, good humor, but I do think the pacing as a whole just kind of brought the video down, and that ultimately makes my decision that it just is not going to work out. I do appreciate the submission. It was still very good. 6.6% of people said that this edit was their favorite, and I wish him the best of luck with future editing endeavors. Next up, we have edit number 6 by Cosmic Cow. This one scored an average of 6.04 out of 10, very similar to the previous one. And this one and Dylan Bucks are probably the only two edits I can say with a somewhat comparable style. I mean, they still have their differences, but I think they're the closest out of everything, all things considered. And that's what made this choice extremely, extremely hard. As a whole, Cosmic Cow here did get a higher rating than Dylan, but I did end up preferring Dylan's. Both still very, very good. But as the Cosmics here, he actually did a really crisp job of doing both of the clips, one in 2 minutes 9 seconds, the other in a minute 59. So hats off to condensing those well, but with the condensing nature, there was some rounds that were cut out that I think that should have been left in. And I don't know if he just left them out because of time restrictions or because he just didn't feel like they should go in, but rounds 35 through 37 as a whole were cut out. And I think something from that range should have definitely been included in, and I think that was just the biggest tipping point for me. As for the rest, it was just very good and inoffensive. The first 27 rounds of the first challenge was extremely well paced, that I really liked, and the second part I thought had some really good edits and all that, just subtle, simple stuff. Even the doggy face in the beginning wasn't too bad. It is a common meme I've seen between other editors and YouTubers. I don't really know how I feel about that, but it's probably not like the biggest deal ever. I liked his edit of me getting completely robbed by that one druid shot. And there was also a very subtle edit on round 5 of the second part where he cut through that to make it a lot shorter. It was really very subtle. I had to watch it twice or 3 times just to make sure that he did in fact make some edits there. And I really do like that, actually. He did a really good job at making it look like nothing changed at all with his editing, which is actually very important for my channel. I've had to do a lot of that stuff myself, where I've had to chop apart my sentences to try to make it sound more coherent, or things like that, or chop up parts to make it seem more coherent. And that is an extremely valuable skill to have. As a whole, the audience liked this edit decently so, but it didn't really catch people's attentions as well as some of the other edits did. I believe 4.9% of people said that this was their favorite edit out of the bunch. And because of all of that, I will not be making Cosmic Cow a full-time editor. The video felt really good, just not excellent. Funny enough, I actually think his style would work really well for ISAB's channel, if he ever was to hire an editor. Just some food for thought. But otherwise, I wanted to thank Cosmic Cow for his submission. In third place, with an average rating of 6.10, we have edit number 2, which was done by me. Shout out to the people that figured it out. So yeah, I ended up putting my own edit in there, just because I wanted to originally see how well it would stack up against the other editors. However, the reality of the situation was, instead of spending lots of hours on a good edit, I spent 30 minutes on a quick edit at 4 a.m. drunk off my ass. So it wasn't exactly the most clean of edits, not exactly up to par with the content I usually put out on my channel. The people that said it's like Tyler's editing style, but worse, were more right than they realized. It was actually really fun seeing real-time feedback on my own edit that I usually don't get in normal videos. People saying what they did and didn't like about it. I mean, despite the fact that the most common compliment was, "It's exactly like Tyler's style." Yeah, real fucking helpful. But you couldn't have known, so it's fine, it's fine. Most people said it was really nicely cut, really nicely paced, which I do appreciate. I'm glad people do acknowledge my pacing and the effort I usually put into it. Even like my low effort pacing, I think, was pretty good, and I'm happy about that. Maybe I should edit more videos drunk off my ass at 4 a.m. But then some people also said that their biggest problems, I think, were when I cut out my speech mid-sentence. And that's a very fair complaint. I didn't really pay too much detail to that at all. I think the only things I would have changed if I was to redo the video was to make sure that I don't cut myself out mid-word. And I probably would have made the winning solution to the challenge last a bit longer, include some of the first like 3 rounds of that. I'm glad you guys overall enjoyed it, and for those who actually do appreciate my editing, don't worry, I plan to still work on a few edits for my channel, probably focusing on some of the most important videos I have, like Twitch Plays series, that kind of thing, and any other video I find to be extremely important, maybe like a new update video or something like that. And of course, at first, I'll be working heavily with the editors I do end up hiring to make sure that the quality that they produce is still up to par with what I'm hoping to achieve on this channel. I honestly don't have too much more to say than that. Oh, besides the fact that 13.1% of people said that my edit was their favorite out of the 7. Next, in second place, we have actually the second most controversial edit. Edit number 4 by Lazing Hiccup. He got an average score of 6.21 out of 10. And this one was actually really loved by the meme side of the community. A little bit less so by the more just kind of laid back side of the community. So, that's where the controversy came in. But it wasn't as dividing as edit number 1, because this one was a little less fast-paced cut. He just inserted a actually large amount of memes, which a lot of them were very, very funny. He had some really good jokes in there, like the OP Sniper Smot trademark, and having that come in twice was actually really funny. I had a good laugh from that. I laughed my ass off at the edit, that one. that one was fantastic, and there were a couple other jokes that were pretty good as well in there. But there were also definitely a few that flopped. I mean, that's just what you come to expect when there's so many jokes that are added in. There were some confusing, like, emoji edits or whatever went on Pat's face, or the Darude balloon storm or whatever seemed pretty unnecessary and kind of confusing if you haven't seen the stream, to be honest. Then there were a couple edits that I thought were a little problematic. The roundabout one and the one at the beginning with the guy's face on the sniper. If I saw either of those edits in a official video sent to me by an editor, I would immediately send it back. But I don't think those 2 edits were too big a deal as far as how I decided to make my decision here. So the jokes definitely need a little bit of quality control. Let's talk about the pacing. The pacing for the first part was actually pretty solid. There was definitely a little bit of gameplay that was not included, which a few people noticed and took issue with, such as like the removal of round 37. I didn't find it to be too much detrimental to the enjoyment of the video, but I guess a lot of people do like to see the entirety of the relevant gameplay included. And there were like some subtle edits that actually did bring out the gameplay quite a bit that weren't just meme jokes. The editing and pacing of the second part was a little less good, mostly because he just didn't include too many attempts. But I guess he included the winning attempt, so it's whatever. The second part just felt a little bit short, which was a problem. I don't know if that was because of time restrictions or just something you decided to do. The nose blowing thing, again, I have to bring up. I'm just not the biggest fan. The edit of it was fine, made it okay. I definitely wouldn't want to see too much of that. And I think just combined with everything else, it felt like a little bit too much. But as a whole, this video was really, really entertaining. But as it is right now, it seems like it needs just a little bit more quality control, which is why I don't think I'll be going with Aliensrock Hiccup here for a full-time editor. However, I will be reaching out to him for a part-time editor position, because I do know that a lot of the people in the community did love this video. A lot of people loved the memes, loved the jokes. I believe 18.1% of people said that this edit was their favorite edit, which is really good. I feel like either he could contribute to help out the other editors or have an occasional video that he uploads, maybe of a content that's like a little bit more meme, because the guy is actually pretty funny. Like, again, you know, just some jokes don't hit the mark, and when it doesn't hit the mark, it usually looks really bad on the video, unfortunately. That being said, I want to thank Aliensrock Hiccup for his video submission. There's a chance you guys might see a Aliensrock Hiccup edited video sometime eventually, but that's just if he decides to do it as a backup editor. He will not be a full-time editor currently for this channel. And in first place, we have edit number 3 done by Sopra, which scored an astounding 7.2 out of 10, a full point above every other single submission here, which is incredible to say the least. Like, this is the only one whose graphs just skewed up, basically. And what can I say? I mean, the comments loved it, I loved it, very entertaining, very well done video. Manages to get both clips within about 4 minutes, give or take, without really making them feel too short. He does a really good job at controlling the pacing well, while adding in some flavor, while doing some cool edits that aren't like over the top or hard to watch. I think like the majority of the stuff he did was really, really good. I don't think there were any super ambitious jokes that fell flat either. Like, actually, a lot of his stuff was pretty funny. One of the biggest complaints about his edit was that he cut out what I said mid-word again, but of course I did that as well, and if I can get past that, he can probably get past that too. I wouldn't worry about that. He also said time restrictions, which is actually fair, because he found out about the competition after the deadline, and I'm like, fuck it, if you can do this before I make the original video, I'll let you in. And he made it in like 3 minutes right after I gave him the information, so props to him for that. Then the other thing was people didn't like the sound as he really sped through the second challenge's footage. I actually thought that part was super cool personally, but I could see how that wouldn't be a good thing for long term. I think that was just kind of a nice one-time montage, but I do think my own style of just the kind of cut, leaving it a little bit of thought process, leaving it a little bit of talk without the noise, I think works better. But this was super cool too. I like the ingenuity. Definitely love the ingenuity of including the challenge code in the video. I think it would be best just at the beginning, not staying throughout the entire video, but that's super simple. There was some pretty still funny edits, like the thick fence. The ending cut zoom was really good. The hero payoff beginning thing was really funny, I think. The sniper corn ceramic animation was also good. Some people didn't like that as much, and I guess I'm not expecting that to happen. I don't really care one way or another if that happens, as long as it doesn't happen too much. I think that's best as an infrequent thing, to say the least. I think people won't mind it that way. And all around, just really good video. A whopping 35.5% of the people that filled out the poll said that this edit was their favorite. With that being said, I'm definitely going to be hiring Sopra alongside Dylan Buck as a full-time editor for this channel. Congratulations to the both of them, really. They both made very good videos, and congratulations to everyone for making it to the finals past the first round. Every single video submitted, I really did in fact enjoy, despite being critical. I feel like I had to be as critical as possible, otherwise I would have just been like, they're so good for literally all of them. So, you know, that's basically how it goes. And I wanted to once again thank all the audience members for putting in their voice. It's really good to see what you guys like and don't like about videos uploaded to this channel. I have a really good feeling about the future of this channel. I think the soul will remain, with the quality and quantity potentially increasing. I don't think I'd ever do 2 videos a day or anything like that. But what I will probably be doing, assuming I don't have to spend too much time correcting other people's edits, is streaming more to give them more footage. So get hyped for that. I don't know exactly when that's going to start, because I'm a little busy next couple days. But after that, I imagine, you know, I might be able to get into the streaming streak for real and not be swamped by video editing. I'll let you know. Once again, congratulations to Sopra and Dylan. A couple others, maybe hang around. You never know if I may call on you. And best of luck to everyone for finding channels to edit on in the future. I know you guys can do it. Peace out.